Welcome back to us here in the newsroom at France 24. It's time for Media Watch. The big story here, of course, Roméo Langlois, our correspondent who'd been held hostage by the FARC guerrillas in Colombia, is now free. Nicholas Rushworth has been following reaction online. Tell us more, Nick.
Well, I started out with thoughts of his family and friends in the southwest of France and turned to La Dépêche du Midi, which is a local paper there. And if you can see this website, Villefranche-du-Rouergue, that's where his dad is from. And there you can see Villefranche attend Roméo Langlois, le journaliste otage des FARC. They're waiting for him impatiently. Of course, that story was before this euphoric moment of his release, basically sort of capturing the fear of, well, is this going to be a repeat of Ingrid Betancourt, and that tension of it all dragging out forever and ever and ever. Of course, the good news is that this evening the champagne corks have popped here in the newsroom. The family are here, the brother and the mum and dad, which is brilliant news.
It's obviously fantastic stuff. Online, it was possible to follow everything almost moment by moment.
Well, this is the Croix-Rouge, the Red Cross, tweeting here, une bonne nouvelle, good news. The CICR, the ICRC convoy is underway, and this is a former colleague of Roméo Langlois, Frédéric Elbert, a former journalist here at France 24, and he's saying here, freed, and that's just prior to the release, and Frédéric Elbert again saying, yes, confirmed, and the good news, he is in good health, which has been really critical. Just to comment about that whole question about would this be an Ingrid Betancourt sort of two, if you like. This is an article in Atlantico. Le journaliste Roméo Langlois, would he have replaced Ingrid Betancourt? And the analyst there is saying, well, of course, FARC have always backtracked on their promises before. This time, they are showing themselves to be strong. They're perhaps engaged in some kind of PR exercise with some kind of early release. So basically, he's saying they've come through a marasma, a decline in their fortunes, and are sort of calling the shots a bit with that. Now, if I can just go to this website, this El Tiempo, it's the local paper in Colombia. And of course, one of the things that's happened with FARC, which is perhaps in that terms of PR and messaging, it demanded before the release of Roméo Langlois that there should be a debate about freedom of information, and that did take place. El Tiempo, the newspaper here, organized that. It did so with the Freedom of Information Organization, and that, of course, perhaps sort of opens up the wider debate about how much play FARC has in this situation.
Indeed, the massive fear, of course, is that the situation for Roméo Langlois would become just like that of Ingrid Betancourt, who was held hostage for some 6 years, of course, before she was eventually released in good health. But of course, there were times when it was feared that she had died, and obviously the conditions in the Colombian jungle are not comfortable. Let's put that in that sense. Okay, so the FARC actually announced they'd release Roméo Langlois via Twitter as well, didn't they?
They did. They did that last Sunday, and they set out various conditions, and those conditions involved actually making a debate, a public debate, and that took place. That perhaps easing the way for this release now, this Wednesday. I'm just going to go back to Twitter because just to go tap into some of the euphoria we're feeling in the newsroom now. This one, I really like this one. Roméo Langlois, he was using his camera to film his own release para registrar su propia liberación. So, of course, that's showing that he's a journalist. Now, what about this, Mark? What do you think? This is the former president of Colombia, Alvaro Uribe, not pulling any punches on Twitter. Look at that one. Journalistic curiosity is one thing, identifying with terrorism is another. So, of course, that's the broader political fault lines of this.
I think some response there to what Roméo Langlois was saying when he was addressing people there after his release. He was talking about the level of poverty in these areas is such that people have a choice. Young men have a choice. They join the army or they join the FARC. And he was saying more needs to be done by the government. And clearly, the government of Uribe for many years, of course, was in charge, and a very sort of conservative government, and perhaps accused of not really trying to invest in projects to create jobs and opportunities for people in that area. I think that's what Roméo was getting at, and certainly what Uribe was talking about. Now, we need to leave it there. I know you've got lots more to talk to us about, and obviously the feeling here is obviously one of relief that our colleague Roméo Langlois is now safe and free.